is the idea that we are raising money to do very important work.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of Riding with Jonathan. I'm your host, Jonathan Larsen. We are on the North Dakota tour again, in this one in Bismarck, and today I am with Beth Demke from Gateway to Science. And so I'm going to turn it over to Beth. Thank you for being here.
Happy to.
Why don't you just go ahead, tell us a little bit more about yourself, and then what is Gateway to Science, now North Dakota's Gateway to Science, if I say it properly. Is that correct?
You. That is absolutely correct, yes. Yeah, so North Dakota's Gateway to Science, we opened in 1994, if you can imagine that, at a very small shopping mall, and we recently built a new building, and we've been in that since 2023. You asked about me. You know, my background, a lot of times people assume that I have a science background and that's why we started the Science Center, but I don't. My background is in human resources and business.
Okay.
And you know, when we started talking about a Science Center, it really came from an idea from Frank Cook, who was an associate chemistry professor at Bismarck State College, who was gathering science friends together, and their family, the Cooks, Frank and Kay, and our family, unbeknownst to each other, were thinking along the same lines, that Bismarck really needed a science center, a children's museum, something that would allow for the discovery of hands-on science. And Frank was gathering his science people together. I was just looking for a group that might be able to do something like that, and I joined Junior Service League.
Okay.
Now, for those of you that don't know about Junior Service League, it's Junior League, you've probably heard of that. That's the group that here in Bismarck was already heavily into projects like Sleepy Hollow Summer Theater and the Ronald McDonald House. So I joined their efforts and helped with those projects. And Frank Cook was a good friend of Tina Stroh, who was also part of Junior Service League. They came to one of our meetings at JSL while I happened to be president, and said, hey, what do you think about a science center? Would this group help us? And we all jumped on board with that project, because what JSL brought to the table was what the scientists didn't really want to mess with.
Yeah.
To be honest, you know, they brought the science, we brought the organization, we brought the business background. So it was, I've often said, the perfect partnership to bring all of us together. So the science people could deal with the science, they could build the exhibits, they could come up with the programming, and imagine what those experiences should be, while those of us that were good at business and working with people and schedules and all of that, we could do those things. And so it worked out really slick. You know, my kids at the time were quite young. Now they're grown, and I now have grandkids. So we've grown up with the place.
Yeah, and kids love it. Like, my kids have grown up with the place, and
yeah.
when you say it was in the mall, and then it was in another standalone place that was tiny. As far as children's museums go, it was small. It was very small.
Yeah.
But my kids, it was still one of their favorite places, because they could run and you didn't have to worry about them, and there was enough to do, and it wasn't so overwhelming to the point, like some places you go to, you're like, how can we see all this and touch all of this at one time? And then it kind of ruins it in a sense, you know. But when it was there, it was like, it was amazing. Now you're in the new place. My kids are a little bit older, and they love that as well. I mean, it's still got that nice feel of a smaller facility, but it's not, like, because they're like, oh, there's this whole other section around the corner that you can do. You have a lot of stuff packed in. Yeah.
our philosophy really hasn't changed. We started out with probably 95% of what we have in there is hands-on. You have to engage with the exhibits, with the experiences,
Yep.
in order to get anything out of it. That is still the case. Our museum, if you want to call it that, our science center, is not a stand with your hands in your pockets, walk around with your hands behind your back sort of experience. Now, there are museums out there
Yep.
where you're going to learn a lot by reading, by looking at something behind glass. That's just not what this is. We want you to engage, we want you to get involved and do the things. And if you do those things, and it doesn't matter what age you are, if you're young, if you're old, if you're a multi-generational family that comes in and is exploring together, you're going to learn something while you're having fun. And that underlying idea of learning with fun is important because, you know, we take what we do very seriously, but if we don't bring the fun, nobody's coming back.
Absolutely.
So, and we learned that pretty early on. You know, we need to make sure that people are having fun. And it's not just the people that come in, it's the staff, it's the board, it's everyone that comes into contact with what North Dakota's Gateway to Science is should have joy.
Yeah.
We want to make sure that the joy is evident because learning should be a fun experience. So
I agree.
we actually start every day in the Science Center with our staff, and we do a morning meetup, and we always end that morning meetup with "Have a joyful day. Let's be joyful," because we want to remind ourselves that, yeah, you know, we're serious. This is important work, but let's have some fun while we're doing it.
Absolutely, and you never know who's coming through those doors. You never know, like, even though they work there, you know, they've seen this stuff 1,000 times, but they got to think of it as the person who's coming for the first time and that's never been there, and they got to be just as excited for their experience as they were for the other people's experience.
Absolutely.
I mean,
Yeah.
that's really hard to get people to understand. But there was a story that you didn't tell me, but I witnessed, or you did kind of tell me it. When I was up there, remember that family that came from out of town? And they were like from Florida or something, and he wanted a sweatshirt, and your gift store wasn't open because we had an event.
Yes.
And they spent 2 days at your museum,
Yes.
and they were only planning on just a quick visit on one day.
And they actually stayed in Bismarck an extra day. They were planning on just passing through.
Okay.
And they stayed in town. So, I mean, there's a little nugget of economic development there that's happening. And we hear this more and more, where people stay longer because they want to come back to the Science Center. But yes, that family from Florida was continuing on to the western part of the state, but they stayed an extra night in Bismarck so that they could come to the Science Center an extra day. And then before they left town, he had to come dashing in and get a souvenir before they left. So that was great.
It's great. So when I say it's small, I don't mean it's small. I mean compared to like some of the bigger ones.
Yeah, it's not enormous.
But you can easily spend a full day in there or two. Like the kids and the grown-ups, when they figure out a puzzle, you have some with puzzles and stuff like that I have to relearn every time I go back. But you can spend some time on that. And kids, it's different for kids than adults. Because I look at it through my kids' eyes, and they still are talking about the exhibit where they're keeping the animals alive, or the power one where they got to power the city, and they got to do, and they're like, we did that, we got 100%, you know, they were working together with each other, and they still talk about it because they're planning on coming up again this year, and kids remember that stuff, and it empowers them to be able to do this.
And I love to hear those stories because it is more than just a one-off experience. It's something that stays with you later and will inform other learning experiences as you go. So your kids learned about powering your city, and then later when they look at, say, a wind farm, they're going to reflect on that and think, okay, there's power being made here, produced here. What kind of power? How much do you think they're making there? Will that work on a cold, still night? If not, what's the backup power that's happening to power that community. What other power is going on? It's a nice sunny day. Look around for solar panels. Do we see any solar panels in this community? What other power do we see? It's amazing what you learn in a place like a hands-on science center, how that reflects later on in your learning. And we hear that from teachers, from parents all the time. I really am very gratified to know that that's the kind of impact that we have on kids and families in general.
I think so. Like, my kids are very fortunate because we homeschool, and then I make them go with me to places, so they're kind of in the real world, so they can see how this stuff applies to their schoolwork. But after being at your museum and different ones around the country, then when they're reading about it in their textbooks, it makes sense. It clicks. It's kind of like, oh, I get that. Now I know why I need to do that. And some kids are book learners. Some kids can just read it, and people, you know, they could read it in a book and that's fine. But some of us really like to be able to touch it and be hands-on.
Yeah, there's a lot of different kinds of learners, but in general, if you experience something in multiple ways, it will stay with you longer. So you might have that hands-on and also book learning, and then maybe there's a field trip, or maybe there's a documentary that you watch. It's that multiple layers of learning that makes it stay with you longer.
I'm running into a traffic pattern. Everybody behind me has gone around because they can go so much faster, but I'm like,
yeah, this bug needs a little bit.
Yeah, we just need a little bit of time, and
yep.
I don't want to jump out in front of anybody, and I want to make it safe for.
Well, I appreciate that you want to make it safe. That's great.
We're just gonna go.
And we've got a nice windy day, and the windows are open, so
yeah,
we've got everything going for us here.
Yeah, we'll just enjoy it. We're not in that big of a hurry,
No,
I guess.
not at all.
I don't know where I'm going, but I know I've been there before several times as we drive around. So okay. Tell me about your new exhibit, because I haven't been there. I don't think I'm even going to make it. I thought I was going to make it, but tell me about this new exhibit that you have, the outside one that's not going to be open when I come back in November to do your event.
Outdoor Explorium. We started on it last year. It was always part of the original plan, but of course we had to get the building done first. It is an outdoor kind of fenced-in space with a greenhouse and a shed, and some space for kids to learn how to plant things. There's also an excavator that Doosan Bobcat built for us. It's custom made. So if you are familiar with an E310 excavator, and you can look that up.
Okay, E310, okay.
Typically, you would climb into the cab of it, and you would operate it with these back and forth kind of joysticks. The way that they built it for us, you don't climb into a cab at all. You step up to a console.
Okay.
And the console has 4 different kind of steering wheels on the sides of it. So 4 different people can operate it at once. Or you can operate it, you know, two at a time, or run around it if you want, if one person is doing it. But each of these steering wheels operates a different part of the arm. So one might be the bucket opening and closing, or kind of moving back and forth. One might be the arm pulling out. One might be lowering and lifting, and one might empty the bucket.
Okay.
So as you're working in this big pea gravel pit, you can move pea gravel around.
Yeah.
That's basically what it is.
That's what we want to do. We just want to dig.
You want to dig.
Yeah.
Kids love to do that, but it gives them a real sense of what construction type of equipment does, and it uses hydraulics. Now you can operate this thing without the hydraulics. If you don't push the button and you don't turn it on, it's really hard to make it move, but it will move. It will still do the same actions, but once you push that button and engage the hydraulics, you can see what hydraulics does in terms of making work easier. And that's the whole point, is to have that lesson about what does hydraulics do.
Or
and
you
then
could,
of course it's fun.
you could drive this vehicle and not have power steering.
And not have power steering. And that's a perfect example of the difference when you add that easier way to do work.
Yeah.
And kids can really relate to it that way if they try both ways, you know, with or without the hydraulics.
Yeah, I'm very excited for that. I think that's so cool that it just opens the door. Again, hydraulics isn't something it's not terribly hard to understand, maybe. But it's not the easiest. But in this,
but do you know it?
But do you know it?
Yeah.
Like, how does it? How does the fluid go back and forth? What does it? And this really just makes it easier to understand. I mean, and I'm looking forward to that because I have a tractor that the hydraulics don't work very well at all in it because it's old. But still, it's amazing how it works. That it works.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? When you think about it, it's like,
think about it, who came up with this
yeah,
idea?
I mean, this is crazy that you pull this lever and it'll pick up this heavy bucket and it'll do this stuff. So I think that's kind of fun. Is that a big hit now? I mean, it's
a huge hit. And the Outdoor Explorium in general is a big hit. We've got other things. It's sort of a work in progress. We'll continue to plant things. We've got an idea of some musical instruments. There'll be an art space out there. Of course, like you said, we'll be closing it for the season. It is not a four-season space.
Not up here.
We do live in North Dakota.
Yeah.
But it'll be fun to open it again next spring and be able to add more things. Just outside of that space where it's fenced in, there's also a pollinator garden, and we had NDSU Extension master gardeners come in and put that together. And it's so fun to see that once we got that garden together, the pollinators just showed up. We did a mini camp with kids last Monday when there was no school. Okay. And we had a friend come in who's we call him our friendly bug guy, but he knows all about bees and bugs, and they found 15 or so different species in that outdoor explorium. Wow. Just in a very short period of time. They found those plants very quickly, which is just an attest to how nature works. And that's really what the Outdoor Explorium is all about too. It's just getting kids out into nature, letting them experience a quieter space, and what does it feel like to dig in the dirt and plant something and watch it grow. And we're even harvesting tomatoes and some other things too. So it's really been a fun experience, and that will just continue to develop as the years go on.
That's going to be a fun one, yeah, because it's fascinating to watch animals and insects work. I mean, what they actually do, like, it's so complex that you don't even realize how complex it is. But if people, like, they complain about the wind, we could complain about the wind, but if we didn't have wind, we wouldn't have crops, we wouldn't have flowers, we wouldn't have, I mean, it's carrying this stuff, it's there for a purpose, and it's kind of crazy. The other one I like, being the guy who I am, is the news desk, where you could have the green screen behind you and then you could pretend like you're the news anchor. And I was doing it one time with my daughter, I guess, and my wife said afterwards that a lady came up and she's like, oh, he was pretty good, he should do that as a living. You know, does he do that as a living or something like that? And I was just messing around. She goes, well, he does something like that as a benefit auctioneer kind of MC guy, you know. And then when you have your event, I don't know when this is going to come out or not, but you have your event, you open that up. Now we have the event at your place. We used to have it somewhere else, and now you can have it on site. And you actually open that up for the social hour, then the guests have access. I know, I love that's one of your favorites. I have to tell you, we had an AARP sponsored adult only 50 plus day. Okay. And we've got pictures of senior citizens at this weather center with the green screen behind. They were giggling. It was just so fun to watch them just have a good time in that space with no kids around at all. And that's what we'll see at our event. So in November, our Einstein on Wine is one of the, I think it's one of the most fun
fundraisers that you can come to. We always change it up too. It's never the same.
It's never the same. I'm the same, thankfully.
Well, yes, but you bring the joy also. You bring the energy, and our guests really love to see what you're wearing.
Yep.
Because it's always sparkling, and just what are we going to auction off? But it isn't just about what they're getting. You have made them understand that it's about what they're giving. It's about what they're supporting, and they come with that understanding. So yes, they're going to have a good time. They expect to get value for their money in terms of a really good meal and a great experience, but also they are prepared to support North Dakota's Gateway to Science and all the programming that we're doing, because they get it, and you've been a great voice to help us get that word out about what we're expecting of those guests when they arrive.
Well, thank you. It's been a joy. We've been together, I think this is my 11th year.
I believe so, because last year we were saying it was 10.
It was
so
10, and
if my counting is accurate, then this would be 11.
I was kind of emotional about it, because I've been with you, 10 years. This was just a dream. The building was just a dream that you guys had, and I've been able to be a part of that, to get it into the new place. And I mean, just to work with an organization for that long is amazing, and the people you get to know and stuff through that. But if you don't have kids, I would recommend going to one of these museums and taking some kids. Not, just don't take kids, but look at it through the eyes of a child.
Permission.
Yeah, with your parents' permission, whether it's your grandkids, whatever it is. Don't just go up and take kids. That's frowned upon. But you just have to see some of this stuff through a child's eyes. So we walk into stuff and we're just so numb to a lot of stuff. Even going to the zoo, you're just like, yeah. But you go to the zoo and you're like, the kid's like an elephant. And they're like, whoa. And then if you really just sit back, you can kind of be like, whoa, as well, because of that thing.
Yeah, it's really great to be able to see how kids get excited about things that we think are maybe a little bit mundane. They do enjoy learning so much because they're just such sponges. They're just, gaining all of that information.
I got a new segment called Questions, Rapid Fire Questions, and I come into this place, but my shade is gone, so I'm gonna go back in the corner, so it's gonna look really weird. But I wanna make sure that you're kind of in the shade, because we gotta sit here, and then we're gonna do this, and then we'll continue on.
Okay.
Oh, there's some birds. Let's make sure that's still recording. All right. It's also a fun little gamble to see if the bus will start again.
Okay.
Okay, so we got our hair better.
Yeah, I don't know how it looks. I'm sure it looks crappy, but whatever.
If I had a mirror in here, it would be awesome. But yeah, it is what it is. Okay, so these are rapid fire questions, but you don't have to answer right away. There is no wrong answer. You're the only one that really knows the answer. And I'm not going to challenge you on it and say, no, I don't think that's true, because I have no idea.
Okay.
Okay. Is your bed made right now?
No.
Okay.
I was not the last one to get out of that bed, though. I just need to clarify.
Yeah, and that's how my wife does it too. I usually make the bed because she gets out early, and I don't know if she's actually a morning person, but she just has to get out of bed before me, and then I don't like do it perfectly, but I do it and put the pillows back on and stuff like that. So that's fine. What was the best decision of your career?
The best decision of my career was joining up with Frank and Tina and this whole effort. This has been my life's work.
Okay. No, that's absolutely. I'm very proud of what you've done there, and what you've created, because it is amazing. What is your coffee order?
It's typically a latte with almond milk and some flavor of some kind. Usually I go with the vanilla, but sometimes I'm more adventurous. Sometimes
you just need a little bit more. Do you have a coffee name, or like a Starbucks name, where if they ask you what name do you want this on, that you leave like an alias? Some restaurants or anything like that? No, you don't have anything like crazy?
I'm Beth.
You're Beth. Okay. What is your favorite movie?
The Best Years of Our Lives.
Okay. And karaoke song. If you were to sing a song during karaoke, what would that be?
First of all, I don't sing.
That's fine. a
But
prerequisite.
Brown Eyed Girl is my favorite song.
Okay, very good. And then, favorite album in high school?
Favorite album in high school?
Like your favorite band? What did you listen to the most?
I loved Earth, Wind, and Fire
Okay,
in high school. I don't remember a specific album.
but that was
But,
pretty
yeah.
much what you were
Yeah.
going to. Okay, first job.
My first job, I was a car hop for 3 days in Dickinson, North Dakota. I was 14, and when I lifted a full tray of malts and shakes to a monster truck, and the wind, we talked
Yep.
about the wind
Yes.
earlier,
It's real.
took it and slapped it onto the parking lot, I thought, I don't need to do this anymore.
I'm 14.
So,
I don't need
I
this
was-
garbage.
So I went back to just being a babysitter. I was much better with kids.
And nowadays, that's good money. Like, not when
Yeah.
I was
Yeah.
babysitting.
Oh, it wasn't good money, but
my
it
wife
was-
calls me grandpa, you know, but when my daughter comes home and I'm like, you did what?
Yeah.
And I'm like, tell them I'm available next time. You
No
know, it's like,
kidding.
what?
Yeah.
How do you even afford to go out with your rates like that? You
No
know, when I
kidding.
started working, the minimum wage was like $5.35, and I thought I was rich.
Yeah.
I'm like, man, I work 2 hours, I get $10, you know? No, not anymore. Pile those kids on. Let's see, morning person or night owl?
Night owl.
Okay, that is the correct answer. Favorite type of work bag or purse?
I like a bag that's big enough to put my iPad in.
Okay, so mostly a tote or something
Yeah.
like that is what you
Yeah.
did. Okay. Favorite meal?
Favorite meal? Thai food.
Thai food. Okay. And what's your most irrational fear?
Oh man, aren't all fears rational?
Well, I know, but there's some that are like, it's probably never. I had a guy say space.
Oh,
He was afraid of space.
afraid of space.
But he's never going to be in space, probably. He never's going to wake up and find himself in
So that
space
would
and be
be
like,
irrational.
whoa, my fear came true. But
Yeah.
so that would be a little bit more irrational.
I guess the irrational fear would be like falling off of something that I have no chance of falling off of.
Okay.
But I'm not afraid of heights, which is weird.
You're just afraid of falling from them.
Right. Yeah.
The possibility of doing
Yeah.
that. I mean, that's good. What is in your trunk right now or the back of your car?
A first aid kit.
Okay.
And that's all.
That's all.
Uh-huh.
It's very clean.
Yeah.
Very clean. What is your favorite month?
November.
Nice, because it's my birthday,
It's my birthday and also Thanksgiving.
Thanksgiving,
Yeah.
and Einstein on wine.
And Einstein on wine.
You
It's
got a
just-
lot of packed in there.
It's the perfect month.
It is the perfect month. Thank you. Again, wow. I would tell people there's not a perfect answer, but you've hit a couple of them. So, what is the one thing you wish you enjoyed more?
I wish I enjoyed exercise more because people always talk about those endorphins you're supposed to get.
Yeah.
Never have gotten that.
Yeah, never seen
But
that.
I know I'm supposed to exercise, so if I enjoyed it more, I would do it more.
I really wish they would come in faster. Yeah. Okay. And then, what shoe do you put on first?
Right.
There you go.
That's it?
That's it.
Oh.
That's it.
No
See,
hardballs.
No. Well, I mean, for some people, like picking their favorite movie, but you nailed like a lot of them. Like some of the ones that some people
Yeah.
struggle with, you knew right
Yeah.
away, and so you were like, no, I got this. This is what I'm gonna do. It just breaks it up to
Yeah.
just a fun piece, because sometimes I interview people and they got some serious things. Like last time was I did one, it was on childhood trauma.
Oh,
You
yeah.
know, and counseling
That's heavy.
children after a death and stuff like that. So it's like, ha ha ha, you know, how do you follow that? Like, how do you make
Right.
that like
Yeah.
people joyous and stuff like that, you
Right.
know? And so we just kind of break it up
Well, and-
in case
yeah,
we
and there's
need
a
that.
person behind all of that too.
Yeah.
So
Absolutely. And so for you got children's museum, so you got fun all over the place. So I
Yeah.
mean, you're good that way.
that's for sure.
Hey, the bus started. So that's
We're on a winning streak here.
I know where I have my trailer parked. Sean, he gave me a cell phone number, made sure I had his contact information
Well,
in case
that's good.
something happened. Then he can come get me and make that happen. So that was rapid questions. That was kind of it. And you're already planning. We could talk about the gala a little bit more. I don't know when this will air. Maybe it'll be already over, and we'll be like, yeah, it was a huge success. But you're planning for that now, right?
Yes,
You're in the works for that, and you kind of do a lot of that throughout the year as well.
We do. Yeah, you know, anytime it's an annual something, you wrap up the one and then you immediately go into, okay, how did that go?
Yep.
How can we improve? I don't care how great it was. We're science people. We're always looking to improve. We're always kind of analyzing and picking apart, and we're not great at patting ourselves on the back. Maybe we should be better at that.
Maybe.
We celebrate,
Yep.
but then we go, okay, let's move on. How do we make this better? And so there's always something else. I also don't like attending fundraisers or really any event where it's the same thing year after year after year. If you do that, if it's the same, people are more likely to say, well, we don't need to go this year. We went
Yep.
last year. You know, it's no big deal if we miss. I want someone to think, man, we don't want to miss that.
Exactly.
That's way too much fun to miss. Or if they do have to miss it, they really feel the loss. And then the
Yep.
next year, they make sure they're there. You know, whether it's because they missed out on what they know was going to be a good meal, or your action as an auctioneer, or getting together with their friends, or playing in the gallery. I don't care what it is that they will feel that they missed. I want them to feel the loss. So we start right away thinking about, okay, what else can we add? How can we make this more fun?
Absolutely. And as an auctioneer, and you're an auctioneer and a consultant for you, I appreciate that you guys are aware that it could always be better. I could always be better. I mean, I'm not perfect, and I like to look at it and be like, okay, what are we going to do? How can we change this up? We have changed it up, and sometimes it's subtle changes, like the direction of the stage, or how we fed people, or where people
Right.
sat, or what order we did stuff in. You have STEM challenges that people participate in. It's very hands-on, you know, and so it's very unique that way.
Yeah.
Now-
The STEM challenge, I have to tell you.
Okay, tell me.
With the first year we had the event in our own building, we didn't do a STEM challenge. You know, we do an engineering design challenge. We were doing them in the old venue.
Because we
And
have a
we
lot of
thought-
engineers there and a lot of science people attending. So
Right,
yeah.
and it's sort of a signature of who we are. But we thought, well, we're in our own building. We've got all the exhibits. They're
Yep.
all new. There's your challenge. And we had many challenges at a lot of them. And when people got upstairs to dinner, they thought, we heard from them. Well, where's the challenge? Where's the
Yeah.
engineering design challenge? We heard from them, so we brought it back. And that has become a big thing. It's amazing how competitive that gets. And of course, I can't tell you what the challenge is.
Don't tell
this
me
year.
what it is, even though I don't
will not.
participate really, but I go around.
They don't even tell me what it is, and I don't participate, but I can't keep a secret, so they know better.
But I think
It's not
people
true.
pick their table mates. I
Yes.
think because of that, because
Yes.
people turn into kids in this at this event, and they really get into it and they love it. You
Yes.
know what I mean? This is something that it just puts your. Okay, a school bus just went by, but I'm not going to show it because of the kids on YouTube act or whatever that is, but they all wave. So it is fun in that regard that these people are able to cut loose.
Yeah,
Would you say
absolutely.
they get to just relive their childhood and just really get that competitiveness
It
out
brings
there?
out the kid in all of them.
Yes.
And they become these little mini engineers, or in some cases, real engineers. And it's kind of funny because I have seen tables full of engineers that don't do all that well on the challenge. And then when you get a mix of people, they do better.
Well,
So-
because the engineers have the know-how sometimes, but they're more analytical and they take longer sometimes to implement. Like they know how to do it, but you put a time crunch on
There
it.
is a time limit.
And then there's some people like me are like, let's just throw it together and see. And then
what
the
happens.
engineers are like freaking out, and then they kind of work together and be like, okay, let's do this, this, and this.
Yeah.
And it does come out. And it's funny that, yeah, we didn't do it that year, and just how fast people were like, so when you say you change it up all the time, you do change a few aspects of it, but there are things you have to keep the same.
Yeah,
And
there are
definitely one of them.
basic elements that we keep the same. Engineering design challenge is a given now,
Yep.
but we won't have the same challenge. It will be different. And last year we implemented the ability to gain additional pieces, additional materials.
Oh, yeah.
But because we don't tell you what the challenge is, you don't know whether those materials will be helpful or not. Or which, in this year, we're actually going to give you your choice of additional materials if you reach a certain goal early on. So like
Okay.
as you're exploring throughout the gallery and
All right, we're back. We lost it. It's too hot. The GoPros are overheating. So we pulled over and we switched it, and now we're kind of back in business. I'm gonna turn this corner because I kind of pulled out in front of that van, and we'll get back to where we're going. So we were talking about STEM challenges. You can get extra things. People get really competitive about it. And so the gala really, it's a good time. And I'm not just saying that because I've been a part of it, but it is one of mine. It's the last one I do of the year as of right now.
okay.
And I like that because I end on a good note. It's one of those things where that's my last one. So going into when my season starts again in like January, you know, you left with, you know what you left with. I know that Gateway to Science is going to be my last one. I know it's going to be fun. The crowd is so energized and such a giving crowd.
Well, and
It's
let's
just a
talk
fun
about
event.
the giving and the support. You know, one of the things that we were able to do at Einstein I we always do fund a mission.
Yep.
The first van that we purchased, because we are a statewide science center, we have an outreach program that covers the entire state, and we purchased a van. Before that, we were using our personal vehicles.
Okay.
So we purchased a van through our fund a mission. We raised enough money to go to the dealership and buy the van with cash.
And that was my first year, I think, wasn't it? Or second year.
Not quite the first, but it was before the pandemic.
Yes. It was in that time.
Yeah, it was in that time frame. So it's that kind of impact that this fundraiser makes, because it raises enough to really make a difference in the type of programming that we can offer.
Absolutely.
That outreach program goes to rural and tribal schools all over the state. We cover, as I said, the entire state, corner to corner, all of North Dakota, which is no small feat.
No.
We now have 2 vans. We also
Okay.
now, last year, what we spent the Fund a Mission money on was a Digitalis planetarium, which is a portable planetarium where you can get inside and learn all about different things with the solar system and other types of planetary experiences. We can use it in-house, but we can also load it into one of those vans and take it to those rural
okay.
schools. And that has opened so many new experiences for these students that normally wouldn't get that at all.
Absolutely. You can take the science to them, to
Yes.
their schools, to their areas. So if they can't make it to Bismarck, all these other smaller communities aren't really missing out totally, because you can bring it. Oh, this is central. I don't want this one.
We bring experiences like that to schools all across the state. So it's the funds that are raised at Einstein on Wine help to support the mission of the Science Center. So, yep, we're having a great time, and they're eating and they're drinking and they're having a fun engineering design challenge, and all of that's going on. But under all of that fun is the idea that we are raising money to do very important work.
Yeah, there's a serious side to it.
Yeah.
And people are aware of that, but they come, they have a good time, they give an amount that's very meaningful, and it's a great time.
Yeah.
Very much. Well, Beth, thank you very much for joining me on this. This has been fun with the wind, with the camera stopping because they're overheating and it being like 80 degrees in North Dakota. But we're not going to complain because it will get cold. So we will.
It's a beautiful fall day.
We will just end it there. So with that, thank you everybody, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye.